The seven Little Johnstons have built an empire on being the largest known little family in the world, inviting us into their living rooms, their renovations, and most intimately, their hospital rooms. For years, we have watched them face the unique and often terrifying physical challenges that come with achondroplasia. We have held our breath as Trent was wheeled into surgery, we have cried with Amber during scary diagnoses, and we have prayed for Alex during his most critical moments. Their bravery in the face of these health challenges has inspired millions, cementing them as icons of resilience. But what if the narrative we have been fed is incomplete? What if the biggest medical crises we have witnessed were not just unfortunate tragedies, but carefully scheduled televised events designed for maximum viewer retention? When you peel back the editing, the music, and the tears, a disturbing pattern begins to emerge. One that suggests the line between a medical emergency and a season finale has been blurred beyond recognition. Before we dive deep into the dark reality of TLC contracts and medical timelines, I need you to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We are exposing the secrets reality TV families don't want you to know, and you do not want to miss our next update. Turn on notifications right now so you are the first to hear the truth. To understand the gravity of what is happening, we first have to acknowledge the reality of the Johnstons' lives. Achondroplasia is not just about height. It is a complex medical condition that comes with a lifetime of potential complications. This is the shield the show uses, and it is a valid one. We have seen the legitimate struggles this family faces. We know that spinal stenosis, sleep apnea, and bowed legs are very real, very painful conditions. When we look back at the earlier seasons, the medical storylines felt raw and intrusive in a way that garnered genuine sympathy. We watched Alex, deeply vulnerable, undergoing brain surgery to decompress his spinal cord. That wasn't a skit, that was a child in a hospital bed. We watched Trent deal with debilitating hip issues that threatened his ability to work and provide for his family. These moments grounded the show. They reminded us that behind the bright lights and the jokes, there were fragile human bodies at stake. The show did an excellent job of educating the public on the physiology of dwarfism. They showed us the x-rays, they explained the surgical rods, and they didn't shy away from the recovery process. This foundation of truth is essential because it makes everything that comes later so much harder to question. It builds a reservoir of trust with the audience. We trust Amber's tears, we trust Trent's stoicism, we trust that what we are seeing is the unvarnished, painful truth of their existence. However, as the seasons have progressed, the presentation of these medical journeys has shifted. If you have been watching closely, you might have felt a subtle change in the air, a shift from documentation to dramatization. It starts with the timing. In the world of reality television, nothing is more valuable than a high-stakes cliffhanger. A renovation going wrong is good, a breakup is better, but a medical emergency? That is gold. A life-or-death situation keeps viewers glued to the screen through the commercial breaks and ensures they tune in for the next episode. When we analyze the broadcast dates and the filming schedules of Seven Little Johnstons, a coincidental pattern begins to appear. It is almost uncanny how often a major health scare coincides with a season premiere or a season finale. Alex's terrifying brain surgery storyline, while medically necessary, was framed and aired exactly when the show needed to cement its emotional hold on the audience. We have to ask ourselves about the nature of reality TV production. These shows are not filmed in real time. They are filmed in blocks, often months in advance. Producers have storylines they want to capture. They need an arc. They need a beginning, a middle, and a climactic end. Is it possible that the timing of these surgeries is influenced by the production schedule? In the medical world, surgeries are categorized as either emergent or elective. An emergency surgery happens when a patient is in immediate danger, a car crash, a burst appendix. Elective surgery doesn't mean it isn't necessary. It simply means it can be scheduled. It means you have a choice of when to do it. This distinction is where the lines begin to blur. If a procedure can be scheduled, it can be scheduled to align with a filming block. It can be pushed back a month to ensure the cameras are rolling, or moved up to ensure it happens before the season wraps. This introduces a moral gray area. Are the Johnstons and the production team coordinating medical care not just based on doctor availability, but on the narrative needs of the television show? Look at the production value of these hospital episodes. Go back and rewatch the scenes where Trent or Alex are being prepped for surgery. Notice the editing. Notice the sound design. This is not a documentary style of filming anymore. There is a heavy use of ominous, low-frequency music designed to induce anxiety. There are repeated slow-motion shots of worried faces. There are camera angles that emphasize vulnerability, shooting from high above to make the subject look small, or extreme close-ups to catch a single tear. This is a carefully produced medical drama that milks every last drop of fear and sympathy from the audience. Real life doesn't have a soundtrack. Real life doesn't cut to a commercial break right before the doctor delivers the news. By applying these cinematic techniques to real medical trauma, TLC is transforming the family's pain into a product. They are packaging anxiety and selling it to advertisers. This leads us to a controversial theory that has been circulating among industry insiders and skeptical fans. It revolves around the concept of the medical plotline. In the later seasons of many long-running reality shows, when the kids grow up and the daily drama of raising toddlers fades, producers often look for new sources of conflict. Health issues are a renewable resource for drama. The theory suggests that the family, perhaps encouraged by producers, might be highlighting or even accelerating the timeline of elective procedures to ensure there is compelling content for the season. We have heard whispers from reports suggesting that the pressure to deliver a heavy storyline can influence when a family decides to address a chronic issue. For example, a joint issue that could be managed with physical therapy for another year might be pushed towards surgery now because the season lacks a main event. This doesn't mean the medical condition isn't real, but it suggests that the treatment is being weaponized for ratings. Consider the financial implications. Reality TV pays, but the real money comes from longevity. To stay on air, you need ratings. To get ratings, you need drama. If the family's health becomes their primary source of screen time, a perverse incentive structure is created. The more medical issues they have, the more screen time they get. The more screen time they get, the higher their chaotic relevance remains. It is a cycle that rewards illness and injury with attention and financial security. This is where the speculation gets darker. In the United States, healthcare is incredibly expensive. Specialized surgeries for achondroplasia can run into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. While the Johnstons likely have private insurance, there is a widespread belief among critics that the network may subsidize medical costs if the procedure is filmed. If TLC covers the deductible, or if the production insurance kicks in because the surgery is part of the work on the show, it changes the decision-making process entirely. Suddenly, a surgery isn't just a medical decision, it's a financial strategy. If this theory holds water, it suggests that the Johnstons are caught in a golden handcuff situation regarding their own bodies. They are incentivized to share, and perhaps even schedule, their most painful moments for public consumption. We have to look at Alex specifically. He has grown up on camera. His most traumatic medical memories are preserved forever in high definition. As a minor, he didn't have the capacity to fully consent to having his brain surgery turned into a national storyline. Now, as a young adult, is he continuing this pattern because it is all he knows? When we see the family gathering around a hospital bed, are we seeing a genuine moment of private support? Or are we seeing a call time, where everyone knows where to stand to get the best lighting? The transition from a show about a family overcoming obstacles to a show that seems to rely on obstacles for its existence is subtle. It happens episode by episode. You start to notice that every season has a designated patient. One year it is Trent's hips, the next it is Amber's back, then it is one of the children. It feels like a roster rotation. Is it statistically probable that a single family has a major, season-defining medical crisis every single year like clockwork? Or is this the result of a production meeting held months in advance where they look at the calendar and ask, okay, who is going under the knife this season? This question is uncomfortable. It feels accusing. But we are consumers of this media, and we have a right to question the authenticity of what we are being sold. There is also the psychological aspect of this exploitation. By constantly focusing on the medical fragility of the family, the show reinforces a narrative of dependency and danger. It keeps the audience in a state of perpetual worry. We tune in to see if they are okay. We engage in the comments section, sending prayers and well wishes. This engagement drives the algorithm. The Johnstons' health issues are being exploited for cash, not just by the network, but by the entire ecosystem of the show. The clickbait titles of the episodes, the teasers that show ambulances and crying faces, it is all designed to monetize human suffering. And the family, whether they are willing participants or trapped by their contracts, are the ones paying the physical price. As we move deeper into this analysis, we need to look at the specific language used by the family during these episodes. Listen closely to the interviews. Often the descriptions of the risks are amplified. Doctors on reality TV are frequently asked to repeat the worst-case scenario for the camera. You will hear phrases like paralysis, permanent damage, and life-threatening repeated multiple times before a commercial break. While these risks are theoretically present in almost any major surgery, the editing strips away the nuance. It presents a 1% risk as a 50-50 coin toss. This is manipulation. It is designed to make you fear for a character's life when, in reality, the procedure is routine for a specialist. They are taking the very real, very manageable condition of achondroplasia and framing it as a ticking time bomb for entertainment purposes. We are being sold a version of the truth that has been polished, scheduled, and budget approved. When you realize that the tears you see might be a reaction to a producer asking a probing question about death right before the cameras roll, the illusion shatters. The bravery is real, but the presentation is a lie. And this lie generates millions of dollars in ad revenue. We need to talk about the role of the children in this dynamic. The adult Johnstons, Trent and Amber, can make the choice to monetize their health. But the children have been thrust into this medical spotlight since they were small. Their medical records are essentially public property. Every scar is a plot point. As we continue into the next part of this investigation, we are going to look at the specific insider theories regarding how these medical costs are handled and the dark rumors about what really happens when the cameras stop rolling in the recovery room. Because if the rumors are true, the Johnstons aren't just sharing their journey. They are working a job where the uniform is a hospital gown and the currency is their own physical well-being. We need to dissect the specific mechanics of what insiders are calling the medical gratuity clause. While the network has never publicly confirmed the details of their contracts, industry speculation points to a standard practice in reality television that becomes deeply unethical when applied to a family with chronic medical needs. The theory is simple but devastating. The network or the production company's insurance policy may cover the out-of-pocket costs for major life events that are captured on film. In the context of a wedding, this means TLC pays for the cake and the dress. But in the context of the Johnstons, this implies that TLC might be paying for the spinal fusion, the hip replacement, and the anesthesia, provided that the cameras are allowed inside the pre-op room. This creates a sickening financial ecosystem. If the family schedules a surgery during the off-season, they could be looking at tens of thousands of dollars in deductibles and copays. But if they wait until filming starts, if they hold off on treatment just long enough for the lighting crew to set up, that surgery becomes a production expense. It becomes free. This is where the line between parent and producer dissolves. If this theory holds true, Trent and Amber are faced with an impossible choice that compromises their integrity. Do they treat their child's pain immediately and pay out of pocket, or do they ask their child to wait 3 months for the cameras so the surgery is fully subsidized? This isn't just about saving money. It is about the commodification of healthcare. It turns a medical necessity into a transaction. We have to ask if the urgency we see on screen is fabricated to cover up the fact that the procedure was actually delayed to align with the shooting schedule. When the doctor on screen says, "We need to operate soon," is that a medical opinion? Or is that a soundbite coached by a producer who knows the season finale needs to air in May? Let's look at the elective versus urgent controversy surrounding Alex. While his central apnea and spinal compression are undeniable medical facts, the narrative presentation of his surgical timeline raises red flags for anyone familiar with how these conditions are typically managed. Medical experts who have analyzed the footage, though obviously not treating Alex directly, have pointed out that many of these procedures are often monitored for years before intervention is required. The sudden emergency depicted on the show often contradicts the slow-moving nature of achondroplasia complications. This suggests that the emergency is a manufactured plot point. The family and the producers may be colluding to take a chronic, manageable issue and reframe it as an acute crisis. Why? Because a chronic issue is boring television. A crisis brings in viewers. A crisis sells ads. By exaggerating the immediate danger, they are effectively gaslighting the audience, manipulating our empathy to boost their ratings. There is a darker layer to this financial motive that we must explore. It is the concept of the sympathy bonus. In the algorithm-driven world of social media and television ratings, engagement is currency. When a cast member is sick, social media engagement skyrockets. The comment sections flood with prayers, the hashtags trend, and the articles are written. This surge in engagement gives the family leverage when negotiating their contracts for the next season. If they can prove that their medical storylines are the highest-rated segments, they can demand more money per episode. Therefore, their health has become their biggest cash cow. The healthier they are, the less valuable they become to the network. This is a perverse incentive system that rewards physical suffering with financial gain. It is a system that potentially encourages the family to dwell on, magnify, and perhaps even unconsciously celebrate their medical limitations rather than their triumphs, because the limitations are what pay the mortgage. We also need to address the psychological toll this takes on the children, specifically in how they view their own bodies. If you are raised in an environment where your surgeries are the most important events of the year, where your pain is the center of attention for millions of strangers, how does that shape your identity? You begin to see your body not as a vessel for living, but as a source of content. You learn that to be interesting, you must be broken. This is the cruelest lie of all, the message sent to the Johnston children that their value lies in their vulnerability. We watch them in post-op recovery, groggy and in pain, with a camera lens shoved in their faces. Is that documenting a journey, or is that exploitation? When Alex or the other children wake up from anesthesia, the first thing they see isn't just a loving parent, it's a boom mic. They are conditioned to perform their recovery. They know they are on stage. This robs them of the dignity of private healing. Furthermore, there are insider reports suggesting that the drama surrounding the fear of surgery is often heavily scripted or induced. We see scenes of the kids crying, terrified of the needles or the outcome. While surgery is scary, sources suggest that producers may agitate the cast members before these scenes, asking triggering questions to ensure the tears flow when the red light turns on. They might ask a child, "Are you scared you might not wake up?" moments before filming a confessional. This is psychological manipulation for the sake of a dramatic thumbnail. It creates a heightened reality where the emotional stakes are artificially inflated to match the dramatic music the editors will add later. As we reach the conclusion of this investigation, we have to look at the Johnstons not just as victims of a condition, but as active participants in a machine that devours privacy. The narrative of courage they have sold us is cracking under the weight of commercialism. They have allowed the most intimate, frightening aspects of their lives to be turned into a spectacle. They are no longer just sharing their journey. They are monetizing their pain. They are putting their family's health on the open market, selling their surgeries, their scars and their scars, to the highest bidder, the TLC audience. The ultimate tragedy here is not the achondroplasia. It is not the surgery. It is the fact that in the pursuit of fame and fortune, the sanctity of the patient-doctor relationship has been violated by the presence of a camera crew. The decisions made in those consulting rooms are no longer just about health. They are about ratings, contract renewals, and season arcs. The Johnstons have invited us to watch them heal, but in doing so, they have exposed a sickness that surgery cannot fix. They have shown us that in the world of reality TV, everything has a price tag, even a child's brain surgery. And that is the most heartbreaking diagnosis of all. If you believe that medical privacy should be respected and that children should not have to pay for their family's lifestyle with their medical trauma, make sure you like this video and share it. The world needs to know the truth behind the reality. Subscribe for more investigations into the dark side of the shows you love, because we are just getting started.